Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, December the 2nd. Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the Monday NHL card. A Monday NHL slate, just 3 games on tap. Hopefully everyone's recovered from the weekend, the holiday weekend south of the border come and gone. I hope you all enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed this weekend. I mean, it was wall-to-wall everything, right? College football, rivalry weekend, NFL as usual. We had NBA and NHL had huge slates on the days that they didn't take off for Thanksgiving. College basketball with all the tournament action. And to say I had a good 5 days betting-wise would be an understatement. It's been just an absolutely incredible run. The NFL card, I think probably the best Sunday I've ever had in the NFL, quite honestly. Nice. Yesterday, it was just spectacular. So I'm in a great mood. I finally got some fucking sleep last night for the first time in weeks. 8 hours. It's been a while since I've had 8 hours worth of sleep because you've just been pounding the pavement, so to speak, night in and night out, round the clock with all these games left and right, and me handicapping all the sports like the savage, like the maniac that I am. Doing it, college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, NHL, everything at this time of year. But man, when you see the rewards and the profits that come with the work, especially the last 5 days, you realize it's worth it. So great to see this. Great run, but let's see if we can keep it going. Before we get into tonight, though, as always, we'll look back on yesterday in the NHL. We saw Vancouver and Detroit ended up kind of being a pond hockey kind of game. Very sloppy play, I guess you could say, both ways. But the Vancouver Canucks get it done. The road warriors that they are, now 10-2 on the road this season. And Kevin Lankinen remains undefeated on the road as a starting goaltender for the Vancouver Canucks as they get a 5-4 victory over the Red Wings in that game. Jake DeBrusk with the hat trick, spectacular performance from him. Cuban Wayne Gretzky, I know in the chat, and he mentioned it to me via DM. He liked DeBrusk and Suter for Vancouver to score, and both of them did in that game as well. So great job by him with those goal props. But Vancouver finds a way again on the road. They've been just fantastic. I'm sure Rick Talk is probably thinking, geez, can we just bring that back to Rogers Arena in Vancouver and figure out how we can play that way there? But just absolutely a great win, and it continues to be a torrid run on the road for Vancouver. Montreal pretty much buries themselves in the first period in the Centennial game. And by the way, hats off to the Bruins organization. Just what a tremendous ceremony they put together for the Centennial game with so many figures of the past that made up Bruins hockey and its history in attendance. It was just a really well done event by the Bruins, and the hockey team followed it up with a very good performance, 6-3 over the Montreal Canadiens in that game. Shots were pretty even, but obviously Boston was a lot more opportunistic. Continues to be, less than stellar stuff from Primo when he gets the chance to be in net for Montreal. But you just can't make all the mistakes and blunders defensively. I know I saw our good buddy of the show and former Ice Guys crew member, Andrew McGinnis, going off on poor Mike Matheson for some of the blunders that he made in that game. As a disgruntled Habs fan, I'm sure watching that. But a 6-3 win for the Boston Bruins yesterday in that game. And like I said, it's Montreal who are having their issues, but you got to give the Bruins credit getting that 6-3 win. Alex, I got to say, very disappointed with those Blackhawks yesterday. 6-3 against Columbus. Yeah. That I thought was a great spot for them. Unfortunately, not one of their better defensive games. A couple of those goals were a little bit unlucky, but nevertheless, 6-3, not one of Mrazek's better games. What was good news, though, was the power play. Was very good again for the Chicago Blackhawks, and I thought offensively they had their looks, had their chances. Merzlikins played pretty solid, even though he gave up the 3 goals in that game. But just very disappointing that thought that was a winnable game, winnable spot, certainly a winnable opponent coming in, and to drop that game 6-3, knowing you have the Leafs coming up tonight, which we'll get to on the road. Very, very disappointing for the Chicago Blackhawks there in that 6-3 loss. Even though it is good to see that offensively things are starting to turn a little bit for them. Dallas 3-1 against Winnipeg. I'm frustrated because I used Jets team total over as the best bet when I was thinking of using one of those Ottawa-Anaheim bets that I made as a best bet, and sure enough, we went 4-0 in that game. But nevertheless, we drop it with the Jets team total. They get an early goal, and then that was all she wrote. Dallas gets the next 3. What a goal Marchment scored to make it 3-1, or 2-1, I should say, at the time. Just a highlight reel goal from him. Mason Marchment with a great third period goal. Dallas with a nice win there, 3-1 against suddenly struggling Winnipeg Jets, who have now lost 3 in a row. Oh, regression is a bitch. And maybe the Winnipeg Jets are starting to experience it a little bit right now. Great game here to wrap up the night. 4-0 sweep, Ottawa, Anaheim, over by Fecta Cashes. We took the shot with the big home underdog, Anaheim, plus 150, plus 160. And also, of course, we had the Anaheim team total over 2.5. That's now 9 straight games, Alex. Ottawa's given up 3 goals or more. That's something you really want to note, especially if you can get the team total on the opponent at 2.5. Yeah. For sure, is that Ottawa's now gone 9 straight games giving up at least 3 goals to their opponent, and a 4-3 Anaheim win there in a shootout. Very entertaining hockey game it was. Back and forth, dead even in shots. It was a pretty even game. And the difference was Lukas Dostal just got the better of Linus Ullmark in the shootout, and that was the difference in the end. Alex, your thoughts on actually for a smaller slate, a very entertaining Sunday?
Yeah, it was. Mentioned the Hawks game, which is I watched in its entirety, and it was just like I said, an unfortunate day for them, where the offense is rolling. You get 3 goals on the power play, but yet every time you get a goal, you give up a goal. Every time you get a goal, you give up a goal, and you just can't afford to have that. So it's unfortunate to see that where the defense had actually been kind of carrying the Hawks in some of these games where they've been able to win. The offense finally shows up, and now your defense kind of falls apart. So that's going to happen. I don't think the guys shouldn't hang their heads down too low on that, but the fact that you come back tonight on the ice means you need to definitely step it up and play a lot better, have a lot more finish. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That Winnipeg and Dallas game, that was an annoying game for me. I had the draw in that, and it had the pace, right? Like every game you see with these two teams, it has that playoff tightness, that pace that looks like it's going to go, like say the overtime. But they said Winnipeg just, things are starting to kind of settle with this team right now, and Dallas finding ways to win games, getting those late goals. That's been the issue with Dallas, right? Dallas is actually one of in the top 5 of teams to go past regulation over the last 4 seasons. And it's games like that. And I remember the Robinsons even mentioned this last year, where there's games like that where, you give up a goal late and go to overtime. You concede a point, especially within the division. To get 2 points and not concede a point for Dallas is huge in that spot. And like I said, yes, we're talking about December 1st, December 2nd, but when we get to late March, and if Dallas has a 2, 3, 4 point lead on Winnipeg, for the division lead or for home ice in second or third place, it's that game we can look back on. So that's a big win for them. And I think just like I said, confidence building off of beating the better teams. And that's something I'm going to be looking at. That's an angle I'm looking at with a lot of these 2-3, 1-3 slots in the division right now. This is the time of year where division games become a bit more important. And I think there's certain spots where teams who may be lower in the division race, in the standings, can take advantage. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on moving forward.
Yeah, no question. And like you're right about that with Dallas. You held the fort at 2-1 there. You put it away, obviously, with the Rope Hintz empty netter. And I thought they played a really clean, solid game. They had a great first 2 periods. Winnipeg carried the play a little bit in the third, but it's not like they gave up a ton of grade A's in the third period. Right. I thought they made life easier for Jake Ottinger last night. Part of the reason I like the Jets team total is because I haven't really loved Dallas's game for a full 60 minutes defensively. The last several. Like I said, they had given up 3 goals or more in pretty much every recent game. It's why I like the team total on the Jets in that game yesterday. But they really tightened it up nicely and get themselves a nice big 2 points there. All right, let's get into Monday. We've just got a short card with 3 games on tap, and we'll begin with the old regional rivalry. The New Jersey Devils taking on the New York Rangers. We've got the Devils minus 130 road favorites in this game at Madison Square Garden. The total 6.5 across the board. So the Rangers have a massive losing streak, can't get out of their own way, trade rumors, just all kinds of rumblings of potential changes if this rut and if this slide continues. But after a brutal run of 5 straight losses, bad starts in games, the New York Rangers finally snapped the losing streak with a 4-3 win over the New York Rangers in a game where they actually finally did have a very good start. The first period I thought was their best period against Montreal on Saturday afternoon. That being said, I didn't love parts of their second and third period, and they let Montreal back into the game on Saturday afternoon. Montreal was able to, battle back from 3-1 down. That shouldn't be happening still. Montreal's struggling, and you need this win desperately. And here's Montreal getting that game tied. And they're very fortunate that Capo Caco rescued the Rangers with a last minute. That was not intended. I rescued the Rangers. I think of Chippin and Dale rescue Rangers when I was a kid. It goes through my mind when I said that. But nevertheless, Capo Caco power play gets them going and gets them the game winner, 4-3 with 24 seconds left in the third period. 3 of the 4 goals were on the power play. That's very important to point out because the 5-on-5 play for the Rangers, even with that victory, dreadful, and it really wasn't that great even in the win on Saturday against Montreal. So the question I ask myself is, normally in a spot like this, team snaps a pretty bad run, a losing streak, and especially if we think it's a solid team like the Rangers, normally we want to back them now when they snap the losing streak, that maybe they go on a run. But I don't know if I can do that because they only beat Montreal and barely at home, 4-3, a Montreal team that got smoked by Boston yesterday, 6-3 on Sunday. And you got a Devils team that's off a loss, and New Jersey to Washington 6-5 Saturday night. I know Sheldon Keefe and the Devils weren't thrilled with the way they played defensively that game and weren't thrilled with that particular defeat. And I know they've all been bemoaning the fact they've been a little bit inconsistent here. Beat Nashville, shut out by St. Louis, beat Detroit, and then lose to Washington on Saturday. But the one thing the Devils have been very, very good at since losing 4 in a row late October is bouncing back. They lose to the Islanders, they beat Anaheim. They lose to Calgary, they beat Edmonton. They lose to San Jose, they beat Florida, the champs, on the road 4-1 after that loss to the Sharks. They get shut out by Tampa. They bounce back at home. They beat Carolina the next game. They get shut out by St. Louis. They bounce back. They beat Detroit in the next game. They've been a very good team, especially since the beginning of November, off a loss. I like the Devils here. I think they're road favorites for a reason. I'm not ready to say that the New York Rangers are they've righted the ship. What? Because they beat Montreal and they got 3 power play goals of the 4. They didn't do much at even strength. So, and by the way, we've got New Jersey as well in their better split. They've been a much better road team this year. New Jersey 6-7 at home at the Prudential Center, but 10-4 on the road. A very good road team this year, the Devils. Off a loss. Price is reasonable. I like the New Jersey Devils here in this one, -130. Maybe split with the team total, which I can get over 3, -120 with the team total at BetMGM. So over 3, a flat 3 with the New Jersey Devils team total. I'll do a split with those 2 bets here. New Jersey money line, New Jersey team total over 3. Alex, what do you think here? Devils, Rangers.
Yeah, I'm going with that over by Fecta along with that team total. Like you mentioned, go to MGM, get the flat 3 minus the $1.20. Rather than taking a side here, I think this could be a back and forth game. This is a rivalry. And like you said, you got a Devils team coming off a loss. You got a Rangers team. Yes, even with the win, like I said, it wasn't the cleanest of wins. They need to get things, right in the worst of ways. And who better to do that than against your rival? Like I said, this is one of those games where Madison Square Garden on a Monday night can be kind of sleepy. Certainly won't be the case because of this matchup. So I think we have goals here. I like that first period over 1.5. Get that shop around. That's all -135 at Bet Online. This should be cheaper at FanDuel. And then over 6.5, along with that team total over 3, -120 with the Devils at MGM.
Yeah, if it is the matchup we think in net tonight, which is Jacob Markstrom for the Devils and Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers, neither one is in the best form right now, believe it or not.
No.
So that's another thing that could lend itself to goals. I definitely lean over by Fecta with you. I'll probably sprinkle on it, just small. One thing I am concerned about is the talk about tightening up after the Washington loss from the New Jersey side. That was all the talk coming out of that game. But sometimes talk, you got to see the action to go with the talk. So let's see if New Jersey can back that out. It's the only thing that made me kind of drop down my level of confidence in that over by Fecta tonight. I was hearing that. But certainly what we've seen with our two eyes with these two teams the last few games is why would you want unders with these two teams right now? New Jersey, 3 of the last 4 games have gone over. They've either scored 5 or 6 or they've given up 4, 5, or 6. And the Rangers, we know they've had issues keeping the puck out of the net. They have given up at least, and that's why I like the Devils team total part of it, especially with a flat 3. Rangers have given up at least 3 goals to the opponent now in 7 straight games. So another reason I like that Devils team total.
And even though, like I said, they might want to try to play a little bit lower and slower in New Jersey, the fact that, once again, you're battling a team where we see a lot of extracurriculars after the whistle, a lot of cheap shots with these two teams. They have playoff history. There could be a lot of power plays. I hate that they took away our prop that over power play goals. If you have a book that still has that, look for over 1.5 or even over 2 power play goals in the game. I think that could also come through as well.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, Stefan Nason's just on a heater right now. We don't even need Matt Robinson on the show now to endorse Stefan Nason. I mean, my goodness, he's just been phenomenal. 3 goals just in the last 2 games alone for the Devils. He's been absolutely spectacular. For the Rangers, I'll keep saying. Now, I will say this about the Rangers. Philip Hedl, there's value. He's now centering the line with Lafreniere and Panarin on the top line for this Rangers team. So a very interesting line change and shake-up here for Peter Laviolette up front. So keep an eye on that. Means you're going to have definitely some strong value now with Hedl up on that top line. It was good to see Panarin get a goal and an assist against Montreal. That guy felt like he'd been asleep, for the last several games. So that's definitely what you want to see. That being said, the best line for the Rangers continues to be Cooley with Trocheck and Kakko. Those 3 have been absolutely terrific. Cooley in particular. Cooley is always worth a look with the heater he's been on. He's really one of the guys that's kept the Rangers afloat during the bad run that they had. Kakko as well. So definitely keep an eye on those 2. They're always worth a look with the way they've been playing. They've been 2 of the better forwards lately for the New York Rangers as well. Keep
you
that
mentioned
in
with
mind.
Nathan, we might need him to start cooling down, because if you shop around, his price is topping out right at the bargain bin level of 300. So he gets a goal here, we may not see him in the bargain bin for a while.
No, we may not. And you knew that was going to happen at some point. Like I say, and that's the beauty of the goal prop market. It takes the odds makers a long fucking time sometimes to really adjust properly to where some of these players should be priced in their goal prop market. And certainly it's been a while that it's taken them forever to adjust with Nason. Say the same thing about Adam Gaudette for Ottawa. How many times have we had him at a really great price, and it shouldn't be some of the prices we've been getting with him lately. All right, it's on Monday. It's only on Prime. Chicago and Toronto. This is your Prime Monday Night Hockey game in Canada. Of course, if you're in the States, if you're in Chicago, you can watch the Blackhawks broadcast, of course, with Rick and Panger. Maybe. Some of you can. I don't know what they do for center ice in spots like this, though. Do they take just the U.S. team that's playing regionally, or do they take the national feed in Canada?
Center ice has been picking up the Prime, so I'll be getting Prime for more than likely both broadcasts. At least Toronto, but it more than likely will be both. So
the Prime broadcasts are production-wise. Like if I'm TSN or Sportsnet, I'm watching that and I'm saying, we need to fucking pick our bootstraps up here, boys. We got to start doing a little bit better. When I start watching some of the great production that they're doing with the Prime broadcasts, great crew as well with the call, John Forsland and Jody Shelley and company. We've got Toronto minus 400, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. Now, historically, this would be a bet on Chicago for me in this spot, because we know Monday nights, lower tier, I should say, Western Conference team rolling in on a Monday night in Toronto means sleepy, put you to sleep spot all the way for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The good news, though, is that Toronto has avoided these spots this year. When they've had the opportunity to beat lesser lights, they've been able to do it more often than not. They've avoided those pitfalls. We'll see if that continues here. In an odd bit of events here, Chicago's actually beaten Toronto 3 straight times coming into this matchup tonight. Last year, they won both games. They won in Toronto 4-1 on October the 16th last year. And then in Chicago, it was a pretty entertaining game that day. I think it was a Black Friday game, if I'm not mistaken. It was right around the Thanksgiving holidays, and it was a great game. And Chicago ended up getting the 4-3 overtime game winner. It was Kevin I remember that. Kevin Korchinski right at the end of overtime got that win here for the Chicago Blackhawks. But we've talked about how the Leafs last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, those Leafs teams would lose in a spot like this. This year's team, I'm not so sure about that. And then you throw into the fact that you look at Chicago, the road issues are just, can't take them. Can't take them even at this price. I mean, they've just not been very good on the road. 4-10. They're on a massive multi-game road losing streak coming into this game here tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're on a back-to-back as well. We're expected to see Arvid Soderblom in net for Chicago, obviously with Mrazek playing yesterday, this being a back-to-back. Anthony Stolar is projected for the Leafs, although that's not been confirmed yet. For the Leafs, obviously no change in their lineup. Bobby McMahon still out. Max Domi and Pacioretty still out. Jake McCabe, who was hoping probably to play tonight, facing one of his former teams, he's out for the Leafs. He got injured Saturday night in the win against Tampa Bay, but will not go here tonight in this one. I mean, this is a simple pass for me from a side perspective. I don't want Toronto at this price in this spot, especially with Chicago beating them 3 times in a row. But that was then. This is now. I don't love what I'm seeing from the Blackhawks on the road. Toronto, for the most part this year, under Berube, they've avoided these, dead spots, and they've still been able to win these games. I think if you like Chicago, what Melissa's saying might be the better option, just for a little security here. +1.5, and I don't bet many +1.5 puck lines, but you also don't get many +1.5 puck lines at +140, like you do here in this game with Chicago. So I just feel a little safer. Leafs win, but win by 1. I could see that in this particular spot. So this, for me, I will sprinkle a little bit on the draw. We did see the game in Chicago last year go to overtime. Just a small sprinkle on the draw. That's really it for me. Total, I think it could go either way. Keep in mind, Soderblom we thought would be an over machine, right? No one scorned Arvid Soderblom more than Alex during his tenure with the Blackhawks. But we have to admit, he has given up just 2 goals or less in 3 of his last 4 starts, and his numbers are really solid despite the 1-4 record. A lot of the time, not enough run support when he's been in net, because his numbers, 2.37 goals against, 926 save percentage, pretty good numbers for Arvid Soderblom this year. So it's just a small draw bet. There are a lot of props I like in this game, and I see Bertuzzi and that name just popping off the page here from the YouTube chat. Of course, it's the no-brainer. Goal prop, no question. He's back in Toronto facing his old team. I know he hasn't had the offensive pop that the Blackhawks fans thought he would bring. But boy, if there's one night you think you possibly could see Tyler Bertuzzi step up and score, it certainly would be tonight, in my opinion. Alex, what do you think here, Blackhawks Leafs?
Well, yeah, like you said, it's an interesting game, right? Because Arvid Soderblom, for as bad as he's been in his NHL career, keep in mind this man only has 8 victories still in his NHL career, which spanned over 2.5, almost 3 seasons. 2 of those 8 wins have come against the Toronto Maple Leafs, both of them last year. So obviously that's a fairly strong angle. You have a goalie with 25% of his career victories coming against one team. You would look that way, but even at +330, it's not worth throwing a dart at from a side perspective. Do love the draw here. Shop around at BetMGM. You can get that as high as +475. That's just awfully high for, like I said, a series that has been actually back and forth. 8 of the last 10 meetings have gone over the total. So with a 6 at -$1.05, said Soderblom, I think, can play well here, but that doesn't mean, giving up 3 goals. He did that before he got a victory. So give me the over 6, -105. And then there's props I like. Obviously, we're all looking at those guys that are, coming back to Toronto, Tyler Bertuzzi, TJ Brody. I do have goal props for both of them, but neither one of those guys are my bargain bin play. I have a bargain bin play that's separate with this game.
No doubt. Blackhawks did go to overtime recently on the road in Philadelphia, so that was a couple of road games ago. So I do think there's legit overtime potential here in this game. And Rich H, you're right. Yeah.
I was saying Goose had a thing in there too where he bet a third on Hawks money line, Hawks to go to game go to OT, game to go to shootout. So if you have a book that has that option, that might be the night where it's worth looking into.
This is going to be interesting because this is where you find out if the Leafs have taken a step forward of maturity and growth. Because this is last year or 2-3 years ago in the Keefe era, this would be slam dunk. I'd be not hammering Chicago, but I'd absolutely be on Chicago at last year, 2 years ago version of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But this year, like I said, they have taken care of business against the lesser teams at home consistently, especially the Western Conference teams where it's easy to be not as up for those games. But this is going to be a challenge still for the Leafs because, as Rich H says in the chat, that's 2 monster games they just played in Florida against the Panthers and Lightning. You have history with both of those teams, playoff history. You don't like them. Those are the 2 teams you're battling for first with in the Atlantic Division. And now you got to play this game. So this is that test of that maturity, that growth. Don't have a fucking letdown. Don't have a flat spot. Don't have a game where you don't show up. Because if you show up, you're winning. You're better. But again, that's the big question going into tonight.
Yeah, Toronto should win this game 7-4. But we know more often than not, there are times where they lay eggs in this spot. And like I said, if this is an exhale moment off of 2 big division games, and like I said, but the Hawks getting their offense rolling, they can't. You'll know early. You'll know early in this contest who's going to win this game. I feel like, and that I'm not saying reflective of the scoreboard. You'll know by who's dictating the pace the first 10 minutes of play, who's going to end up getting the 2 points out of this contest.
Yeah, no question. That's good. You're going to tell right away. You're absolutely right. First 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, you're going to know if the Leafs are engaged. You're going to know right away. Are the Leafs engaged? Are they locked in? Are they carrying the play, or are they just letting Chicago just pepper them, early in that hockey game, and Stolarz has to bail them out? If that's the case, it's like, uh-oh, it's going to be one of those nights again, hearkening back to last year and 2 years ago. Put the crowd to sleep. You can hear a pin drop in that Scotiabank Arena, and you'll tell right away, very quickly in this game. If it's going to be another one of those nights where the Leafs have a hornet's nest on their hands against a team that most times they should beat. So that's definitely something. TJ Brody, Tyler Bertuzzi, Nick Foligno, all these guys, former Leafs, now playing for the Chicago Blackhawks. They're all worth a look tonight. I like Bedard too. I think Bedard goal, or at least try the 2 points because he's factoring in on so much right now. Clearly the confidence is coming back for Connor Bedard. And look, the Vancouver game, he did not play well, and that was shocking back home. But I still think when he gets to play in a Canadian market and a Canadian city, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Calgary, you name it, he's still going to want to put his best foot forward. And unlike the Vancouver game earlier this year in Vancouver, Alex, he had no confidence at that time. He was really struggling with his game. But you can see it's starting to come back. And for that reason, the excitement of playing in a Canadian city tonight, I could see him making an impact.
Definitely. And here's the thing. When you have these giant 300, minus 300, minus 400 favorites, shop around, you'll find some great value with goal scoring props. For example, at FanDuel right now, every Blackhawk is in bargain bin range. Even Connor Bedard, he was plus 320 this morning. I don't know if that might have changed. He might be right on the line at plus 300. But you don't find that too often. So in a game where we like the over and there's over history, you could really take any Blackhawk and try and get some good value tonight. Yeah,
no doubt. We'll have to wait and see. There is over history between these two. There is a strong over history, but the one under was last year in Toronto, 4-1. See, I'm on the fence with the over here. I don't love it. I love a lot of goal props, but I could see 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. It stays under, and yet I hit some of these goal props because the goals that are scored involve the players I like here in this game. So I could see it going that way as well. All right, final game of this Monday NHL slate. We've got Dallas and Utah. The Dallas Stars minus 135 road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Obviously, we saw Dallas with a great performance last night in the 3-1 win against Winnipeg. I thought that was one of their best games. It was one of their best defensive games for sure. Because the one thing you could quibble about with the Stars is, well, they haven't exactly been tremendous as of late as far as their defensive game, because they had given up 3 goals or more in a lot of recent games, the Dallas Stars. And I think there was maybe a little bit of a focus going into a game against a really good Winnipeg Jets team from the Stars, like, hey, let's tighten up a little bit. We can't be giving up 3 a night. And then they went through this stretch where they gave up 6 to Carolina, including the third period implosion of that game. 6 goals against Chicago, 3 goals in a win against Colorado. But I know they didn't love giving up 2 in the third and seeing that game get tight again in the third period. And then, of course, you saw the game last night, 3-1. With the much better defensive effort, I thought, against the Utah Hockey Club. As far as this game goes, we've got, obviously, a situation here for Utah where they're off this just shocking performance, quite honestly. I mean, certainly it wasn't a great spot for Vegas on Saturday night against the Utah Hockey Club, but for Utah to go to Vegas and just dummy the Golden Knights 6-0, that definitely was an eyebrow raiser for sure. After a heartbreaking loss in overtime the other night against Edmonton, the previous night, where I thought they deserved a better fate. I thought they played pretty well against the Oilers, but they end up losing in overtime. How about Jackson Stauber as well, getting the shutout for the Utah Hockey Club in that 6-0 win? 29 shots faced. He made all 29 saves. Does that mean they go back to Jackson Stauber tonight? I wouldn't put it past Andre Tourigny maybe to give Stauber a start once again. That being said, as of now, Vejmelka is projected as the starting goaltender tonight for the Utah Hockey Club. I would expect Casey DeSmith to be the starter here for Dallas, with this being a back-to-back night. He has definitely fallen back after a pretty solid October and early November. The last two starts have been, well, kind of hideous, especially that game against Chicago, which was not good for him. He's given up 10 goals in the last two games. And those came against the Ducks and the Blackhawks, by the way. Not two of the better teams in the NHL. So if it is Casey DeSmith, I am a little bit concerned. I'm interested in an over by Fecta here. If we get DeSmith for Dallas, and I don't think it's going to matter who's in net for Utah, because even if it is Stauber, and you think, wow, he's coming off a shutout, beware. Vegas was flat as a you-know-what the other night. I watched that game. They were flat as a you-know-what the other night against the Utah Hockey Club. This is going to be a lot tougher challenge, in my opinion, for Jackson Stauber if he gets the start. If it's Vejmelka, he's obviously been very good lately, but he did finally give up a 4-goal performance in the last game against Edmonton when he got the start there in that game. I just feel like we could be looking at a higher scoring affair, especially if the goaltending matchup plays out like it may, in my opinion. So as of right now, I haven't locked anything in yet. I'm waiting for the lineups. I'm waiting for the goalie confirmations, but I definitely have the over by Fecta circled here in this game with Dallas and Utah. Alex, what do you think here? Dallas Stars, Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, I'm on this first period over, and both teams to score in the first period. I laid 135 with the first period over, and I got plus 160 with that BTTS. Dallas 7-0 now to the first period over. Let them get hot. We know what they did last year. At least in Utah, regardless of who they have in net, I could definitely see where they could push the pace early and also give up a goal. So liking both of the first period looks. We'll more than likely try to grab a little bit of a live over in game to see if I can try and wait a minute or two and try and catch a better price.
Yeah, I am with you there. I think the first period over is definitely what I'm looking for. By the way, we do want to mention with Dallas, Logan Stankoven might be back tonight. He's missed the last two games, lower body injury for the Dallas Stars, sat out the Colorado and the Winnipeg games over the weekend, but there is a chance we get him back in the lineup tonight for the Dallas Stars, which would certainly be a welcome case. I mean, for Dallas, the prop options are obvious, right? It's Marchment, Duchesne, Sagan, and Marchment in particular. Boy, oh boy, is he playing well for this hockey team right now. 4 goals in the last 4 games, 3 goals in the last 2, including just a spectacular, dazzling goal in the third period last night against the Winnipeg Jets. Very impressed with him. No, it's not a system play, Robert. Utah won. We're talking about shutout loss, not shutout win. The system play is only for a shutout. I still like the overs in this game, but it's not quote-unquote system play that we're talking about.
Vegas tomorrow would be a system play.
Vegas would be a system play tomorrow, yeah. And I think that one, actually, considering Edmonton kind of got shut down a little bit by Colorado the other night. Actually, no, Edmonton did the shutting down. Edmonton played a really good defensive game. And Edmonton's usually one of those teams where off a defensive game and a lower scoring game, it goes the other way. So I think it sets up well, not just because of the system for that Edmonton-Vegas game tomorrow night, that it could go over that in the first period and full game. But we like over by Fecta tonight in this game, regardless of it not being an official system play. For Utah, I mean, for them, there are a couple props that I'm interested in right now on the Utah side of the equation here tonight, because, look, they did get 6 goals the other night. It was kind of good to see them get off the schneid, get rolling just a little bit. We've talked about McBain, what he's been able to do for the Utah Hockey Club. He had 3 straight games with a goal previously. He's cooled off a little bit. But, speaking of cooling off, Cooley is not cooling off. He's got goals in 3 of the last 4 games for the Utah Hockey Club. He's my number 1 option tonight for Utah, Logan Cooley. Took him a while, but he's really starting to get his offensive game going for Utah, and I could see him maybe lighting the lamp tonight. Good stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Great work as always with their thoughts, their comments, and all the stats and info they're providing in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much, just like we appreciate all our great Patreon members at patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Again, we thank you very much. Again, bonus content, goalie charts, totals charts. We've got some player suite stuff coming very soon as well on the Patreon page, as well as, of course, our daily betting card. The betting cards have been great. I mean, anyone that's a Patreon member knows how good the betting card results have been the last several days on the Patreon page. Sides, totals, player props posted each and every single day throughout the NHL season on the Patreon page, patreon.com/iceguys. And again, your $10 per month subscription goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping us going long term. So make sure you sign up, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. And yes, good point by Robert in the chat about Wyatt Johnston. We know we've been waiting patiently for him to get rolling. He scored last night, and he's on a 6-game point streak right now for the Dallas Stars. So definitely that's good to see. But make sure you sign up if you haven't already. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month.
Also, this is definitely the week to check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. This week only, 7 days, you get 25% off your order and free standard shipping. It's the perfect time to get something for you or your loved one for the holiday. Make sure it's under the tree. You'll get it in time as well with that standard shipping. 25% off and free standard shipping. 7 days only, starting now, going until the end of the week. That's available at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There you go. Check it out. And again, time's ticking. Christmas is here in 23 days. You want your stuff and your merch under the tree. Get on it now and get your order placed at the Ice Guys store. All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night and Best Bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsman, Raise Your Game, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every man knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barbershop shave. What if I told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or months between appointments to experience it? Introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using promo code ICEGUYS for 20% off and free shipping. What makes this Chairman Pro stand out? Versatility, precision. It comes with 2 interchangeable blade heads. You have the skin-safe foil, 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And if a clean shave isn't your style, that's okay. Switch to the skin-safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation. The last thing you need is to get nicks and cuts and all that shit to really irritate your skin. This will leave your skin feeling smooth and comfortable after every shave, reducing redness or discomfort. And a standout feature that truly differentiates the Chairman Pro is the Flex Adjust technology to give you that superior shave by allowing both blades and the pivoting head to seamlessly adapt to the unique contours of your face, and is gentle on the neck area to help you maintain great contact with your skin at every angle. If you want even more precision, there's a precision lock. When you lock it, the blade head sits firm so you can achieve a more precise shave. The Chairman is Pro is waterproof as well. You can use it in the shower. And the waterproof feature doesn't just make shaving easier. It also simplifies cleanup too. Just a quick rinse under the sink and you're all set. The Chairman Pro isn't just for daily shaves either. It's powerful enough to tackle up to 5-day growth, making it perfect whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. And up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, you can take your time getting the perfect shave. It even has a travel lock to help make sure it doesn't accidentally turn on when you've got it in your bag when you're on the go. Get the Chairman Pro today. It is worth it, and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. All right, shout out to all our great sponsors, Manscaped Monday, and of course it's Solid Fire Monday, courtesy of Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Lots to choose from, believe it or not, for a 3-game Monday slate. Alex, what do you like for your bargain bin special?
So we're going with that Chicago-Toronto game, and I know, like I said, there's a lot of different people who are heading back to Toronto. We mentioned TJ Brody, we mentioned Tyler Bertuzzi, mentioned Nick Foligno, but I'm going with the Trooper, Jason Dickinson. You look back at that last game these two teams played, Dickinson had a hat trick in regulation against Toronto. This is a team that he gets geared up against. You can find him at FanDuel plus 650 anytime goal scorer. So give me the Trooper, Jason Dickinson, score again for Chicago here, plus 650. My bargain bin special for Monday night.
1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 for the lady on the radio. There you go. Trooper, Jason Dickinson for Alex with the bargain bin special. Trooper's a Canadian rock band, by the way, and so he's going back to Canada here, obviously, tonight. So we thought we'd throw a little Trooper,
nice.
a little sing-along there for you for the show. Trooper's a really underrated band, by the way. Very solid Canadian band from the 70s, in my opinion. That was one of their big hits. But yeah, the Trooper, Jason Dickinson for the Chicago Blackhawks. For Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. All right, what have we got here for me? It's the same game, Chicago and Toronto, and I'm going to go with Bert, the man they call Bert, Tyler Bertuzzi. Look, I know he's only got 5 goals this season for the Chicago Blackhawks. I have a feeling tonight, back in TO, where he spent his 1 season with the Leafs last year, we'll get him going. It's uncanny how, especially against this particular franchise, the Leafs, the former player comes back there and scores against them. Fuck, Pierre Engvall did it. Pierre Engvall for the New York Islanders. And this is like a 3rd, 4th line guy most of his career for the New York Islanders. Just something about players when they go back to Toronto as a former member of the Leafs. They make an impact. So let's go with Bert and a great price. Tyler Bertuzzi plus 490 at FanDuel for Tyler Bertuzzi for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Head out to Salt Lake City. We go with that Dallas-Utah first period over 1.5. Get that minus 135 at Caesars, minus 135 also available at Bet Online. A little bit of a steep price, but I do like it enough. You can play it now or you can wait a little bit in game, but that is my best bet. Dallas-Utah first period over for Monday.
All right, Dallas-Utah first period over 1.5 here. Best bet for Alex B. Smith in that game. My best bet here for this Saturday, for this Monday, I should say, NHL slate. We're going to go to, I'm going to go with I'm determining whether I want to do the money line or I want to do the team total with New Jersey. And I'm going to go team total. I like that just because the Rangers, their offense, could they score a bunch tonight? Possibly. But I do think Devils off a loss, we're going to see them want to bounce back strong. I like the money line too, but the fact that we're able again to get the New Jersey Devils team total over 3 at minus 130 is definitely something I like. So we're going to go with a flat 3, New Jersey Devils over 3 minus 130. That is going to be my best bet. New Jersey Devils team total over 3 minus 130. Best bet for this Monday NHL slate. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. And I said, looking forward to a big card tomorrow on Tuesday. A lot of interesting spots and good opportunities. So looking forward to being back with you tomorrow on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back with you tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of the Ice Guys.